The Apple Watch is one of my favorite pieces of tech because it's transformed the way I approach my health, how I work, and how I use my time. By the end of this video, I want to convince you to try the Apple Watch if you haven't tried it already. And I'm not talking about super specific features like the electrocardiogram or the fact that this watch is waterproof up to 50 meters deep. No. I'm talking about real-world use cases that add value to your day-to-day life. Maybe you've been considering an Apple Watch, but you don't know if it's worth the money, or maybe you've been close to getting the Apple Watch, but you just don't quite understand the use case of it. In this video, I'll be showing you exactly how the Apple Watch has helped me to live my life more intentionally. It's helped to support my health, to boost my attention, and just make everyday tasks, everyday interactions just that little bit more convenient. Now, of course, this isn't a magic pill. You're not gonna pick up an Apple Watch and suddenly be a different person, but it does help. Let's start with the first thing, which is health. The main health app pre-installed on the Apple Watch is called Activity Rings. I use something called the Nike Running Club app. I think it's a little bit better, but it's your preference. It doesn't matter which one you go for. The end goal is exactly the same. The first benefit of using a health app on your Apple Watch is that you don't need to carry your iPhone around with you for your run or for your workout. It's one less thing to worry about, but also an iPhone is pretty bulky. And of course, you can control your music from there. You can update your reps if you're in a gym from there. You can check your heart rate, check your cadence. That brings us on to the cool analytics you get in the Apple Watch that you don't get on the iPhone. And three of them that I found useful for running have been elevation, heart rate, and cadence. I actually discovered through the Apple Watch that my running technique could be improved because my cadence was slightly low. So on my future runs, I decided to intentionally start running with my feet closer to the ground. And I adjusted my cadence depending on if I was going uphill or if I was going downhill. And I noticed I felt less fatigued over the duration of my run, simply because this isn't like a personal coach, but it was able to give me a nudge by saying, look at the data, you can improve your run in this way. That was a pretty awesome thing that I picked up on it. In both the native health app on the Apple Watch and the Nike Running Club app, something they have in common is leaderboards. Leaderboards are a great way to stay motivated because I feel like you just get a bit competitive with your friends and family, you know, like you just add a couple of people, how many steps are they on today, how many steps am I on today, can I try and beat them? So leaderboards are fun and they're a great way to stay fit. The caveat is you need friends and family who also want to do the same thing. Another area of the world of health that the Apple Watch has helped me with is meditation. The great thing about it is it uses vibrations to tell you when to breathe in and when to breathe out. Very simple, but it works. So this is perfect for when you're out and about, or you want to be a bit more discreet about the fact you're meditating, or if you just don't have headphones with you. It's a nice, easy way to record your meditations and it syncs with the Apple Health app. So again, if you like to look at the data like I do, you can kind of look back over the weeks, months, year, etc., and see just how much meditation you've done. The third area of health where the Apple Watch helps is sleep. In order to have a better night's sleep, I've started using the Apple Watch to help me with sleep tracking. The Apple Watch has also helped me to wake up in the mornings. It gently taps me on my wrist instead of having like a super loud alarm clock next to my bed. It's nice to be gently woken up, and the Apple Watch helps to do that. A caveat to this is that I am very specific with how I like to sleep. I like to sleep in a dark room. I like the temperature of the room to be quite cool. Because I'm so specific about it, I initially was like reluctant to wear an Apple Watch to sleep, but something which helped is to get a Velcro strap because it helps to get a perfect fit on the wrist and it's quite lightweight. I highly recommend getting a Velcro strap if you would like to use your Apple Watch for sleep. The second sphere I want to talk about is attention. This is where it gets super interesting. This is where I think the Apple Watch really excels. The iPhone commands my attention at all times, and the way it does that is through notifications. Except now, my Apple Watch is my new notification hub. I put my Apple Watch on silent and then I check my Apple Watch when I'm ready and go through my notifications when I'm ready. Not the other way around. I can always see the notifications as and when I want to see it, but I don't have this huge massive screen on my desk distracting me, like lighting up. You could argue, Saf, I can put my phone on silent or I can put it on do not disturb and it achieves the same thing, but it doesn't. It's nuanced, and the reason why is because by virtue of going onto your iPhone to check your notifications, you're also seeing all of these apps, and these might be cues for your brain to be like, oh yeah, maybe I should just go scroll through TikTok. When you have an Apple Watch and you check your notifications, there's only so much you can do on a small screen. So you go through your notifications and then it's like, okay, cool, I've gone through it now, let me get back to doing what I was meant to be doing. Another thing I love about the Apple Watch is that I can reply to people without being online. And this one's a bit cheeky. It's where the notification comes through and I reply through the Apple Watch and send it back. And then I haven't actually logged onto the app. Because of that, it means that I can be like an arm's length distance away from the people who are trying to reach me, but I might be in like a deep work focus session. Anyway, look, I found that really useful to be able to do that. It's a great feature feature to have. On the theme of staying connected, you have the Messages app on the Apple Watch, where on the Series 7 you have a QWERTY keyboard to reply to people now. This is super powerful and it's a little bit more intuitive to use than in the past you had to like swipe SAF to do SAF, whereas now you can just do SAF. In terms of staying connected, it is pretty easy to text people and to reply to people. A cool story on staying connected, right? I was coming home and it was super late one night and nobody was home and it was midnight. So I get to the front door, and at this point I realized that I left my keys inside the house. I couldn't get into the house, there's no way. So I pulled out my iPhone and I found out my iPhone was dead. So I couldn't actually call anyone to get back into the house. And I was there for about 5 or 10 minutes thinking, what the hell do I do? Where do I go? I've got nowhere, no one can take me in right now. I'm just stuck outside the house. I started looking at all the windows. I thought, can I go around the back and get into the back? How am I breaking into my own house? And then I realized that I have my Apple Watch and I could use a phone on my Apple Watch to contact someone to come and find me. And that's exactly what I did. I was outside the house and the Apple Watch connected to the Wi-Fi inside the house, and I was able to Wi-Fi call someone and say, hey, I'm locked out. Do you mind coming to like give me the keys and let me back into the house? It has come in handy. Like there have been occasions where it's come in handy. And I think, you know, listening to the story, it might be easy to say like, that's just a one-off. Like how often does that happen? But you'd be surprised the number of occasions where you will need to be connected. Third and final sphere is convenience. The Apple Watch helps make my life a little bit more convenient in different ways. I'm gonna talk about 3 areas which I think it helps the most. The first one is Spotify. I am a Spotify user. You can stream music or podcasts directly from your Apple Watch and you don't need to take your iPhone with you. Since the lockdown, I try and go on walks every day, and I sometimes, not always, but sometimes I will download a podcast onto my Apple Watch, I get my AirPods and I just walk out the house and go for my walk. I don't need to bring my phone with me, and it's nice to just leave it behind. The next thing I use my Apple Watch for, where it makes my life a little bit more convenient, is Apple Pay. Everything nowadays is contactless, pretty much, and having Apple Pay on your wrist is really fast and really easy. I used to take my phone everywhere with me because it was my wallet, but now I don't need to do that because my watch acts as my wallet. Something to think about, right? You can use digital keys on your Apple Watch or your iPhone to unlock like entry to your house or to certain new cars. I don't use that, but pretty much everyone's everyday carrying their tech, a wallet, keys, so it's nice just to combine all those 3 things into one. I use Siri a lot, and yes, you can use your iPhone for Siri, but it's not always with you. Sometimes it's in your backpack or it's in your pocket, and using the Apple Watch for Siri can be really useful. Most of the time I use Siri to set reminders. If I don't set a reminder to do something, then I'm just gonna forget it. So as soon as something comes into my head, I'll be like, hey Siri, remind me to do X at this time, and it usually does it. I knew it would go off. The other thing I like to use Siri for is to send text messages in the morning, especially when I'm getting ready. Like I'll be getting changed, or I'll be making breakfast and I'll just be like, send a message to my sister and say, are you ready? The next thing I want you to think about is, how many times a day do you pick up your iPhone or unlock your Mac? With the Apple Watch, you can use it to unlock your iPhone and your Mac, and it shaves off like a second or 2 each time you do it. And because you unlock these devices so many times throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the months, etc., etc., it just makes the experience of using the Apple ecosystem a little bit more smooth. It's very much a small but nice to have. Like, I'm describing this to you and I'm thinking to myself, this is a real first world problem. No one needs an Apple Watch to get into the device like a fraction of a second faster. But like I said, I'm talking about these are the things I use every day and that add value to my life, and this is one of them. It does come in handy and it does do that, and it's helpful, it's nice. I will unlock my iPhone, and my Apple Watch has unlocked the phone quicker than Face ID has. Especially if Face ID fails the first time because I'm like wearing a mask or I'm just at like the wrong angle, then the Apple Watch can do it very quickly. Another way the Apple Watch helps with that is if you leave your iPhone behind, your Apple Watch can let you know. And it works the other way, where if you've lost your iPhone in your house or at someone else's house, you can swipe up and press ping iPhone, and the iPhone will just make a loud noise somewhere in the room. It's useful for not losing your stuff, basically. Last but not least, I want to talk about the Drafts or the Notes app on the Apple Watch. Some of my best ideas come to me when I'm driving. It's just a matter of fact. Sometimes it's like a 1 hour long drive or an hour and a half long drive. I will have this eureka moment where I come up with a really good idea, or I'll be listening to a podcast and I've heard something which has triggered a thought. I think that's a wicked idea. But because I'm driving, I can't really capture the idea very easily, except now I can with the Apple Watch, and I do use this all the time to do that. With the Apple Watch, it's easy for me to stop the podcast and then dictate my idea into whatever note-taking app of choice I have, and I can do all of this without stopping the car. I really love this feature because I talk to myself all the time, and if I don't get it out of my head and into a note-taking app, then it's just gone forever. There are usually 2 camps of people. People who buy an Apple Watch and they swear by it, and there are people who buy an Apple Watch, they use it for a little while and then they never use it again. I've been both types of people, and the reason I feel that people don't get along with their Apple Watches and they don't use it correctly is more down to improper fit and just discomfort of using the Apple Watch. Check out my video on how to buy the correct Apple Watch size for your wrist. I'm gonna link it up above.